Well, hi and welcome back to 3R Guitars. It's been a while since I've done a YouTube video, and I must admit I quite enjoyed doing them, and it was basically the Flying V build, and I got a lot of interesting people get in contact and ask questions about it, which is very, very pleasant indeed. I mean, it's not gleaning a whole heap of views, but I'm really not interested in that. I'm not too bothered, to be honest. I mean, as long as it's of use to people and it's a record of what's been done, that's fine. Anyway, this is a little short video just to keep interest up, really, of a guitar I've just finished. I love messing about with quirky style builds and stuff like that. That's what I really like doing, and something different, and this one certainly is. I saw a video on YouTube about a guy who makes all sorts of guitar bodies, mainly out of resin and encasing stuff in them and all that. His work tends to be the complete body is a resin body kind of thing, which is great, and he obviously has great success with it, sort of thing. I can imagine them being a bit heavy, but he builds them half as great guitars and half as something different. So that inspired me to have a little go of my own with resin. Now, I've done a resin topped guitar before that wasn't a great success. It was a long time ago, and I think basically these casting resins have come on leaps and bounds, sort of thing, in quality, and so I thought I'd after that disappointment I kind of put it to the side, but obviously learned a lot from it. So I thought I'd have another go, and I've only got a tiny little garden here, but I hate gardening, but I do like a bit of a wild garden sort of thing. So we've got some quite odd plants in it, kind of thing, and I thought, when it came round to autumn, I'd gather some leaves up and press them, sort of thing, with a view to doing a resin top guitar with autumn leaves. And just to give you a quick look and to stop the waffling a bit, here's the result. Just a quick look there, and these are all leaves I gathered in the garden and built this guitar with, really. So a good friend of mine, drinking partner, we enjoy the occasional ale, shall we say. He said, I've got this old Victorian gate leg table I don't want. Do you want it? And I asked him what wood was in it. He said, well, I think it's mahogany, sort of thing. So I thought, well, don't want to throw away wood like that. So I got the mahogany. To be honest, design-wise, it was a bit of an agricultural table, so I didn't feel too guilty ripping it apart. But so basically, this guitar, this was the thickness of the top of the table there, which was something like, well, 3/4 of an inch, probably 21 mil. So that's what I used for the basis of this guitar there, and you can see it's a nice piece of mahogany. And then I thought, well, I'll make up the rest of the thickness with about 10-12 mil of resin, sort of thing. So what I did, I made a template of the guitar, cut it to shape, and that iron-on veneer you can get, sort of thing, to do the edges of chipboard and stuff. I bought some of that, ironed it on around the edge to make an upstand, something that would form a dam for pouring the resin in, and then basically stuck my leaves down on it just with some paper glue. Just stuck the leaves on there, and I'd had the leaves pressed between two pieces of wood for a good couple of weeks. So glued the leaves down. It's important to do that because You know, they'll float in the resin and they'll float up to the top. Learnt that on build 1. So I stuck them down, poured the resin on, and of course some of the leaves did float and curl up, and I thought, oh, for God's sake, why do I bother with resin, you know, waste of bleeding time. So I just left it, came back to it, but actually that accident was really nice, because you can see on this how 3D the leaves look. You know, because they're floated up, they're on top of one another, the edges of the leaves have curled up, so it actually looks really nice. So I got to that stage, and with this resin you can't float it to a finish. You know, you have to, you know, sand it flat, and it's got to be flat, so use a piece of wood that's flat and go over it. You don't want it all wobbly. Sanded it flat, but this resin being an up-to-date version, it wasn't too difficult work to actually do that. So I got it flat, and then I didn't polish it at the time because I had a lot more work to do, and then I decided that, you know, I wanted to have a very, very organic look to this guitar. I didn't want any simple organic look, so I wanted this round edge, you know, where you know, there's no binding round the resin or anything like that. Didn't want that, so the resin is just routed nice, and the guitar's got a lovely round edge, so you can see the you know, you can see the leaves through the edge. I really like that. And the other feature was, you know, that it came out so, I think, so nicely and so effective. I didn't want to clutter the top with any controls or anything, so we've got all the controls on the side. You've got the pickup switch here, sliding pickup switch, and then you've just got volume and tone there. So everything's in the side there, and there's the jack socket there. Quite an unusual look to it, sort of thing, but I just wanted everything like that hidden. It's got kind of a Strat hardtail bridge on that was all black, but I sanded off the black on the saddles just to give it a bit of contrast, sort of thing. So it's a string through top there, string through the top. The pickups are my favourite go-tos, which are iron gears, but the tops I've refinished in like the same gold powder, metal powder that you use for gold top Les Pauls, so it's got that very gilded look kind of thing, which is nice. And I also, you know, I would have probably by choice, you know, because I use P90s a lot, I would have probably by choice, just to have a change, use something else, but I wanted something without any borders around it, just fit straight in, bang, no, what do you call them, surrounds, no pickup surrounds, nothing, so just really simple, straightforward. Now the neck, I didn't actually make the neck. I mean, this was a real stroke of luck. I bought this neck off eBay years and years ago, and it was a 24 fret neck. I've cut it down to 22, and because it was meant to have a Floyd Rose and shit, so didn't want any of that. But so with very little modification, this neck worked, and the obvious reason why I used it was it had this leafy flower inlay going up the neck, which perfectly matches that, so that was a stroke of luck. The headstock is really lovely. You can see I've actually channeled out a section in the headstock, and then again put leaves in there and poured resin on it, and again all this is nice and rounded, and I've got these really nice old-fashioned copper relic tuners on it, which look nice. So you know, I'm hoping that you equally think. I mean, the top is not perfect because some of the leaves curled up and came through the resin in places, but I think that just adds to it really. Looking really nice there. And one of the other features, a friend of mine really likes those Novo guitars, and so I've gone for a kind of shape like that. But the thing I always think bolt-on necks are a bit IKEA on guitars, you know. So I didn't want to do a bolt-on neck, so I wanted a set neck like this. And I've made a few, you know, that I've made a double cut Les Paul Junior recently, and I love that kind of neck joint. I think, although it's probably not as strong as like a Les Paul or something like that, I think it's so neat where you get a single line going from the top bout to the bottom bout, and then so you can basically inlay the whole neck. You don't have to cut a mortise sort of thing or anything like that. You can just inlay the whole neck, and you haven't got any ugliness, you know, on the edges or around. It just makes for a very, very sleek looking neck join. So you can see here the way it's done here. I mean, I put this extra lip out there to give it a bit more strength, because I mean there's not a lot of tenon in there. I mean, it's about that long now, so it should be plenty strong enough, and goes underneath the front pickup as well. So I'd kind of say, although this looks a bit more offset, like Fender like sort of thing, I guess, Jazzmastery, whatever, you know, it's offset guitar basically, isn't it? It's more like an SG because of the neck joint, you know, 100% axis down here, set neck, tip back headstock, so it's a bit more like plays and feels like an SG. Got a Fender scale length and brass top nut. I wanted to stay with the brass sort of look. So really nice all in all. I've got a few finishing touches to do on it, but the actual finish on the wood, again, I wanted to stay organic-y and shit. So I went with a gun oil and more of a hand-rubbed finish. Not perfect, because I mean this was an old bit of wood off a Victorian table. It's probably over 100 years old. But yeah, lovely guitar, and if anybody's interested in it, certainly I'll be moving it on. And yeah, just thought I'd keep you up to date with another video. If you like, I'll do a flyby now of it, and we'll go from there, so you can see some close-ups. So here you go, here's a flyby of the guitar, and you can see how 3D all the leaves look. Again, the finish is not, on the lacquer is not perfect. There's a few little, you know, little things, and I'm not going to get those out, because there are places where, like I say, where's my finger, where the leaf actually comes to the surface there, so you'd never get a perfect finish on there, and round here with these little leaves. So this fern is a Dixonia from the garden, and then we've got some pretty plain stuff in there, but these are actually weeds that I've never dug up, sort of thing. So, you know, we're all looking really nice. I don't know anything about bloody gardening anyway, but yeah, hopefully you can see it all there. It's got a quality bridge on it. These are solid brass, can't remember the make. Then we come up the neck. Like I say, this is a commercial neck. God knows where I bought it from. Must have had it for 15 years, but just matches in really well. And we've got the brass nut on here. And this is where the Floyd Rose lock-in bridge thing was supposed to be, obviously, so I've had to put a bit of a cover on that. And here's the headstock with the rounded edges. everything round, and again the inlaid leaves there, and then we've got this you know, this neck joint that I really like down there, very sleek. Again on the back, sorry it's getting a bit dusty here, but all the controls are in this cutout here. This comes off and all the controls come off with it, and then there's this cutout for the jack socket here, this inlaid brass thing for the string through bridge, and just on the neck. Quick flip over again and we can wind it up. So I hope you like that one, guys. The one thing I will say that I've not been able to address with this resin pouring is, for some reason, you can see the bodies get a slight curve to them, something that the resin does, whether the resin has got like water in it, something like that. And it happened on the first guitar I did, and yeah, basically it does that, but I don't think it's unpleasant. It actually looks quite cool, so not bothered about it. The first guitar I built never broke or anything like that, so go with that. So we'll wind it up there, and thank you for watching. Sorry it's all a bit waffly, but it's something different, isn't it? Cheers then, bye bye.